We've explored countless parallel universes, future timelines, and mind-boggling multiverse events. From Secret Wars to Spider-Verses to the constant time-traveling shenanigans that the X-Men are getting into, Marvel really has no shortage of parallel realities and timelines. But today, let's set our sights on one particular future, Marvel 2099, the future of the main Marvel universe. At the forefront of this futuristic realm is Spider-Man 2099, swinging his way into popularity as Spider-Man does. But he's not alone. 2099 is home to a dazzling array of mighty heroes, each with their own intriguing tales and incredible powers. Ladies and gents, my name is AJ Spatola with Top 10 Nerd, and without further ado, here are the top 10 best superheroes from Marvel 2099. At number 10 is Steve Rogers. When Captain America first showed up in 2099, the moniker was actually taken up by an imposter. This imposter was a political pawn created by Alchemax and used to oust Dr. Doom from his role as US president. But this fake Cap was no hero. He was a sadistic and mean-spirited version of the beloved original character. And guess what? His story doesn't really end well. Doom had his nanites deployed, which led to a gruesome demise for the fake Cap. But fear not, because the real deal, the original Captain America, Steve Rogers himself, eventually returned. He had been frozen in suspended animation, again, only to resurface wielding none other than Thor's mighty hammer, Mjolnir. Cap and Mjolnir back together, it's really a sight to behold. With Mjolnir in hand, Steve helped create a new Avengers team and even fought off a massive alien invasion threatening our dear Earth. Talk about an epic comeback for the Captain America title. But before I continue, if you're enjoying this video so far, do me a huge solid and smash that like, say something nice in the comments, subscribe to Top 10 Nerd, and ring that notification bell. Listen, I know nobody likes chores, but if you give us some support, we'll return the favor with some more sweet content. Deal? Sounds good. At number 9 are Deadpool's daughters. By the end of the century, Wade Wilson is still kicking. However, the Deadpool moniker has been taken up by his two children, Eleanor Camacho and Warda Wilson. In the present, Deadpool was briefly married to the literal queen of the underworld, Shikla, but they later divorced. Shikla married Dracula, while Deadpool had an adopted daughter named Ellie Camacho with his partner Emily Preston. But it was later revealed that Wade and Shikla had a daughter together who would be called Warda Wilson. But this knowledge would be hidden from Wade. Shikra would eventually lead demonic forces in an attempt to take over the surface world, but she was defeated by Wade, the Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Fantastic 54, all of whom you'll get to learn about if this video does well enough for a part 2. During the battle, after trapping Shikla in her sarcophagus of stasis, Wade used Pym particles borrowed from Scott Lang to shrink it down and hide Shikla in the safest place he could think of, inside of his own heart. As years went on, Wade's memory deteriorated and he ended up forgetting about Shikla's fate. Eventually, Wardra shows up, demanding to know where her mother is, but she gets no answer from Wade, who's still grieving over the passing of his adopted daughter Ellie. While Wardra tells the public that she capped her father, she in fact has Deadpool chained up inside of her apartment, forced to watch C-SPAN on repeat for decades as the ultimate form of torture. All the while, she and her henchmen, known as the Bobs, modeled after Hydra agent Bob, traffic illicit materials and substances through the city uncontested. And things are all going smoothly for Wardra until a masked vigilante appeared, hunting down Wardra and her henchmen. Surprisingly, it was Ellie, Wade's supposedly deceased daughter, who wanted to free her stepdad and reclaim the name Deadpool, believing that Warda wasn't honoring it. With Ellie's help, Wade was free and a final battle ensued, with Warda summoning a monstrous creature from the underworld. However, Wade called upon the team of Iron Fists for assistance, and together, they defeated Warda. In the end, Wade uploaded Emily's digital consciousness into Warda's mind to help her heal and find redemption, and ultimately, Wade declared that both of his daughters could be Deadpool. At number 8 is John Eisenhardt's Hulk. The Hulk of 2099 was a movie studio executive named John Eisenhardt who got caught in a gamma explosion, transforming him into the Hulk of his era. Before his transformation, however, John was studying a group called the Knights of Banner, a group of worshippers of the original Hulk, Bruce Banner. When John couldn't secure the rights to their story, he decided to report them to the police. Ultimately, this caused violence that left John with feelings of guilt, and so to make amends, he joined the Knights to help their cause. But then another knight named Gawain set off gamma bombs, where John was caught in the blast, and that's when he became the Hulk of 2099, who was even stronger than our modern day Hulk. And when he gets angry, his strength increases even more. This Hulk even has sharp claws and teeth that could tear through steel. But the coolest thing is that he retains his normal intelligence, unlike other versions of the Hulk. However, unlike our own Hulk, the Hulk of 2099 wasn't immortal. In the end, he met his fate thanks to the actions of S.H.I.E.L.D. At number 7 is Samuel Fisk's Daredevil. A radioactive spider bite turned Peter Parker Parker into the Amazing Spider-Man, giving him incredible powers to fight crime. But not everybody gets bitten by radioactive creatures. Take Matt Murdock for example. Radiation didn't give him superpowers. It actually took his eyesight away while heightening his remaining senses to superhuman levels. This transformed him into the fearless Daredevil, battling notorious villains like Bullseye and the Kingpin. And speaking of Kingpin, in the year 2099 we meet a new Daredevil, but he's not related to Matt Murdock. No, this hero was given the name Samuel Fisk, otherwise known as the grandson of the notorious Kingpin. Samuel, filled with remorse for his grandfather's past deeds, takes up the mantle of Daredevil to make amends. But the twist is that he doesn't have any inherent superpowers. Instead, he relies on a cutting-edge battlesuit that enhances his strength and reflexes, allowing him to fight crime with remarkable agility, empowering Samuel Fisk to right the wrongs of his past. At number 6 is Ghost Rider Zero. Ghost Rider, a powerful entity in the Marvel Comics, takes on a futuristic twist in 2099. Unlike the traditional version, this Ghost Rider is not possessed by a demon, but is actually a computer hacker named Kenshiro Zero Kotrain, whose digitized consciousness is uploaded into a Terminator-style robot. The story goes that after stealing some important information, Zero is shot, but saves himself by uploading his mind into cyberspace. In a hidden sector called Ghostworks, an artificial intelligence discovers him and offers to bring him back to the real world. Zero agrees and his consciousness is downloaded into a robot with the look of a T-600 but the abilities of a TX. With transforming weapon hands instead of vehicular transformation and deadly eye beams instead of the penance stare, Ghost Rider 2099 seeks vengeance and fights for justice in this high-tech future. At number 5 is the Sorceress Supreme. In the Marvel Comics, there's a young woman known as Strange who becomes the Sorceress Supreme, the most powerful mystic on Earth. But her journey wasn't an easy one. One day she and her brother were attacked by Skrulls. She tried to use magic to save them but ended up summoning a terrifying creature instead, which tragically ended her brother's life. Devastated by the loss, Jeannie, now calling herself Strange, dedicated herself to mastering her magical abilities. She became the new Sorceress Supreme and even controlled the demon with the Eye of Agamotto. And while Strange teamed up with Spider-Man and at one point fought off zombies together, their troubles were far from over. At number 4 is Jacob Gallows' Punisher. No future setting in the Marvel Universe would be complete without some iteration of the ultimate anti-hero, the Punisher. But instead of Frank Castle, the Punisher of 2099 takes on a whole new form as Jake Gallows, a former member of the Church of Thor and part of the public eye police force who charges citizens money for protection. Jake, driven by personal tragedy after losing his mother, his brother, and his sister-in-law to Kron Stone, the son of powerful businessman Tyler Stone, stumbles upon the war journal of Frank Castle and becomes inspired, assuming the mantle of the new Punisher. His mission? To bring down the villainous Kron Stone, who, by the way, would later become the Venom of 2099. As time unfolds, Dr. Doom rises to power, becoming the President of the United States and appointing Jake as the head of the Ministry of Punishment. However, the laws enforced by Jake's brutal police force are harsh and unforgiving, endowing him with the rights of judge, jury, and executioner as if his name were Judge Dredd or something. At number 3 is Cecil McAdams' Thor. Thor's origin in the 2099 stories has got to be one of the most interesting aspects of this universe. You see, the citizens of Earth had really been feeling the absence of their favorite Asgardian Avenger, and so an entire religion emerged called the Church of Thor, which heralded a new day when Thor would return to smite the frost giants of industry. One of the church's Thorites, which is just a fancy name for priest in this religion, was a man named Cecil McAdam who was selected by Alchemax to be initiated into Project Aesir. They used technology to recreate Asgardians, and Cecil McAdam was chosen to be transformed into Thor. Brainwashed into thinking they were real Asgardian gods, Thor and others became pawns for Alchemax's plans. At number 2 is Ravage. Paul Phillip was living the high life as the CEO of a company called Echo, a subsidiary of Alchemax created to combat the threat of polluters. However, things took a turn for the worse when he started questioning the violent methods used by his own company, but as I'm sure you know by now, nobody crosses Alchemax and gets away with it. Phillip was wrongly accused and framed for a crime he didn't commit, and so he had to go into hiding with his secretary. During their time on the run, Phillip was exposed to radiation, which caused him to transform into a fearsome man-beast. This newfound ability gave him incredible powers, like shooting bioenergy blasts, having super strength, and even a healing factor. Throughout his adventures, Paul Phillip, now known as Ravage, teamed up with a young orphan named Dak and his former secretary turned friend, Tiana. Together they fought against injustice and confronted the forces that were after them. And at number 1 is Miguel O'Hara's Spider-Man. Working for Alchemax in 2099, Miguel became increasingly dissatisfied with his corporation's control over the city. Pressured by Tyler Stone, Miguel reluctantly tested a genetic coding process on a subject named Mr. Sims, resulting in Sims transforming into a grotesque creature and dying. Fed up with Alchemax, Miguel attempted to quit but was tricked into consuming a hallucinogenic drug called Rapture, with bonded to his DNA. This drug, manufactured solely by Alchemex, had Stone expecting Miguel to remain dependent on it. So in order to break free from his addiction, Miguel decided to undergo the same genetic procedure that killed Sims, using his own genetic code as a baseline. However, his superior Aaron Delgado sabotaged the process in an attempt to eliminate him. But despite the sabotage, Miguel survived the procedure, with his DNA being fused with spider genes, granting him various powers and freeing him from his Rapture addiction. Now, if there's an awesome 2099 hero that I missed here today, be sure to let me know down in the comments, because if you do, then I'll get to cover your suggestion in part 2 of this list. That is, if this video does well enough for a part 2. So let's see some love, you guys, because I don't know about you, but I'm really enjoying living in 2099. Well, minus Alchemax at least. This has been AJ Spatola with Top 10 Nerd, and I'll catch you all in another video. Later, nerds.